What's going on, guys? Mimic here with another banger video. This one we're going to be talking about my staff dagger build that I recently theory crafted over the past 2 to 3 weeks. We'll be going over each piece I chose. We'll go over the traits that I'm using and my final stats with the build and why I chose these items over others. Real quick though, if you like this video, be sure to give us a like. Have any questions, drop a comment in the comment section. Want to connect with me and my community? Check out the Discord link in the description. And last but not least, if you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing. It helps me out tremendously, and I'm grateful for your support to the channel. With all that being said, this is Bravo 6. Go and talk. All right, guys, so we're on board here in my character screen. We're just really quickly going to recap and touch on all my items that I decided that I wanted to use in my final theory craft. We'll talk a little bit about them, and then I will alt tab and we'll talk about my end game stats. And then of course we'll finish the video with why I chose these items over some other items that you guys may think is best in slot for me. Let's jump in. So the top, I'm actually going to go with the Transcendental Clairvoyance Helm. This is going to give me +6 perception, which is going to give me some hit. It's also going to give me 5.1 cooldown speed, which is really nice. Now you can see here, the 2-set effect is actually going to give you an additional 7.5 cooldown. So if you wanted to have a little bit more cooldown speed, you could get a 2-set with this and then take advantage of that 7.5 cooldown speed, which is nice. Now, of course, this is not max level +9. At +9, I believe I get one more point into perception, but we'll cover that here in a little bit. With my chest, of course, going with the most nicest chest in my opinion, for DPS. Of course, it's up for deliberation, but for me, since I am staff dagger, a hybrid melee / range type build, I am going with the Miracle of Mother Nature clothing. Now this is going to give you +5 dex, which is nice. It's going to give you some evasion there and some crit damage. Also going to have +3 wisdom, which is nice as well, which helps with cooldown speed. And then of course, it's one of the only items in the game currently that has heavy attack chance as a trait, passive trait on the item. So I'm going to have that +78 heavy attack chance, which is very nice. You can see here the 2-set, which I am rocking, is going to give me that 7.5 weaken duration. So any kind of weaken, which is like your poisons or your fire or any other kind of weaken like a slow, is going to last 7.5% a little bit longer on the enemy, which is great. With the pants here, you can see I did go with the 2-set. I've got the Mysteries of Mother Nature pants there at +7 right now. They're only at +3 wisdom. They're going to have a little bit of weaken chance on there, which is great. And it's really going to help me out with mana cost efficiency 7.5%. So 7.5% is actually pretty huge. Staff dagger is mana hungry big time. I mean, you can do maybe 2 full rotations, maybe 3 full rotations before you're completely out of mana. So it's good having that mana cost efficiency. And of course, you can see there on the bottom, I've got that 7.5 weaken duration with the 2-set effect. Now, moving on here to my cloak. And again, I'm going to change the traits on my cloak. I had built this a long time ago when I was on Greatsword Dagger. I'm going to probably sub out the weaken resistance for something else. I've got to check to see what the cloak has, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Critical hit 115, which is nice. And then melee evasion, which is amazing at 130 there. Now the gloves I went with are the General Frenzy gloves. These are low level +7. I do need to level these up. I will get everything to +9 here in about a week. But you can see here, even at +7, I'm getting that 4.3 added attack speed, which is great. And we're getting 5 perception, which is going to help with overall hit, which is nice. And then of course the 2-set there I'm rocking is going to give you that melee heavy attack chance +150, which is amazing for melee characters. Mine is obviously staff dagger, but the way I play the staff dagger is I do DPS from range, and then I come in with the dagger and I finish the kill close range. So having that heavy attack chance on melee is really nice to have, and you put out some really big DPS numbers very quickly. Went with the general charge boots. These are +9 already, which is great. They're going to give you that additional 4.9 movement speed, which is great. synergizes with your dagger passives when you get a kill, and it's going to have +6 strength there, which is amazing, which is going to help me get to that. If you look to the left there on the strength, it's going to have 50 strength. It's going to help me get to that 50 strength really quick, so you can get that heavy attack chance plus an additional 100. Now, these boots are probably my favorite boots in the game, but there are other boots that could contest them. I love the boots. I would suggest you guys get these boots too, if you guys don't have access to anything else. And then moving on to the bracers, these are obviously, I don't have them leveled to +9. I will get them to +9. They're going to give you some hit there with perception +5, and they're going to give you a bonus flat bonus damage of +12 there across your whole entire kit. Of course, I need to trade these out, but I will be getting all this stuff traded out hopefully here in the next 2 weeks. Moving on to the necklace, in my opinion, one of the best necklaces in the game for DPS and even tanks, the Slaughter's Collar. It's going to give you that +5 strength, and it's going to give you a massive melee evasion 164. This is my favorite collar in the game, my favorite necklace. There is maybe one more necklace that is a tier 2 necklace that can compete, but honestly, for what it is, the Slaughter's Collar is probably going to be your go-to if you're playing DPS, because it's going to give you the +5 strength, which will help you get to that 50 strength, and it obviously has melee evasion 164, which is huge, because if you are staff, if you are dagger, or even if you're up close greatsword dagger, you know, melees are going to jump on you, right? You're going to be in the midline. Melees will jump on you because you're closest to their midline. They'll try to silence you and kill you. If you have a lot of melee evasion, you're going to dodge their attacks. So I went with that there. And then on the Eternal Ring of Dimension, we went with, I went with this ring. The other one is supposedly better, but I like this one. So I'm just going to keep this one. And it gives you +5 move speed, which is nice. It's going to give you some additional more strength and dex, which is great. And then of course I've got pretty much 2 best in slot there traits: skill damage boost and max health. I do need to get rid of the health regen and put something else on there, but again, like I said, we're going to talk about those traits here in a second. And then this ring I actually need to change to the Transcendent ring that Malachi drops, but I have not been able to do it yet, so I am rocking the Lethal Fortune ring. This is not the ring I'm going to be using in my end build, but like I said, we'll talk about that here in a moment. But right now I've got that 4.9 added attack speed and the 5 dex that I'm probably going to lose when I go to the other ring. The other ring I'm going to use, I believe, gives you +3 across all strength, dex, wisdom, and perception at +9. So I'm going to sub that out for that ring. And then my final build here for my belt is Tycan's Bloodlust belt. This is going to give me some more movement speed at 4.9, which is nice. I've got it at +9 already. It's going to give me +4 strength, which is great. And then I'm going to have that passive max health 530. So this belt is really, really sweet. I recommend going this belt. There's probably 1 or 2 other belts that you could sub it out for if you want to, you know, tweak the build. But for my build, this is my end build minus the ring. Okay, I need to get Malachi's ring. It looks like this, or Mordecai's ring. Let's go into the auction house really quick and look at that. And if you just go to accessories and you go to ring, this is the ring here, the Transcendent Magic Ring at +9. It's going to give you +3 strength, dex, wisdom, and perception. So I am going to be moving I'm going to be losing you know, some other stats from my other rings, but you know, it is what it is, right? I'm gonna be losing the attack speed, and I'm gonna be losing 2 dex, but I'm gonna be gaining 3 strength, 3 wisdom, and 3 perception. I think that's a fair trade. So definitely gonna work on getting this from Mordecai. We'll do some guild raids here soon, and I'll be able to capitalize on that and get that ring. Now, that being said, let's actually jump into my stats, what the end game stats are, and then we'll quickly talk about why I chose these items over other items. So I'm going to go ahead and cut to that. Okay, we're back now. These are all the items I'm using. I've got them here on this sheet. It's going to automatically calculate all that they have with the item automatically at +9. And then the only thing that I need to do is pick out which traits that I want to get you know, on the item, and I hand picked out all the traits that I want per item. And on the bottom here, it's going to actually tell you what your final stats are, and this is what I went with. Now, of course, the base stats you can change. This is kind of what I'm playing with. I'm going with 50 strength, 39 dex, 50 wisdom, and 38 perception. But again, you can change these to your liking. I'm just going to play with these as once I get my full build, I'm going to play around with these base stats, since you can change these base stats at any time in the game. It costs 30k gold, so it's relatively cheap and you can do it as many times as you like. So with this, what I'm going to be getting is roughly 12,000 max health. Max mana is 7,700. Now remember, this is base stats. It's not taking into consideration some of the passives that you get from the game that are going to give you more max mana or max health, things like that. This is just base stats, so keep that in mind. I'll get 310 mana regen, we'll get 13 bonus damage, and then 15 damage reduction. And then of course right here I'm going to have roughly 1200 melee evasion base and roughly 400 range and magic evasion base. Now you may think that the 400 is low, but it's not, because when I proc my shadow step or any other kind of movement speed on the staff dagger, this is going to go up 640 points plus based on the evasion that I'm going to passively get with my passive on my dagger. So in reality, I'm going to be rocking somewhere between 1200 melee evasion and around I would say 1000 to 1100 range evasion and 1000 to 1100 magic evasion. So all my evasions will be over 1000 when I do shadow step or when I use any kind of skill that is a movement skill, which is really good. So I'm going to be pretty solid when it comes to the evasions, and I'm really happy about that. I am lacking on the endurances, but again, I am pretty glass. If I'm, if people are going to be hitting me, they're going to be hitting me for full crits. So I'm stacking that I'm going to just have high evasions and that I'll be able to get out in time. Of course, I have my invisible skill that I get from Dagger, so I'll be using that to help me get out of bad situations as well. Now, you can see here with the build, I've got 20% buff duration, I've got 11% debuff duration, 240 skill damage boost. Now my hits are low, I'll be the first to say. With this, because I'm putting so much in wisdom, I don't have that much perception. My hits are low, they are very low. End game, you definitely want to be having close to somewhere probably 900 plus hit would be optimal, 1000 if you're a Chad. My hits are half of that, but not a lot of people use magic evasion. Maybe 1 out of 10 is going to be having a high magic evasion. Most times your magic is going to get through and it's going to hit for full damage, because a lot of people are not using magic evasion or magic endurance. They're actually using like melee evasion or ranged evasion. They're not really touching the magic evasion, so I'm going to bet on that. Now, yes, I could hurt on the melee side. When I go in to melee, I could be missing a lot because I have such low hit. But again, like I said, I'm going to tweak with these numbers here. These are not solid final numbers. This is just kind of what I've theory crafted. Once the build is complete and I have all my items plus 9, all the traits on there, I'll continue to play the game and figure out if I need to go more into perception, if I need to change anything in the build. But for what I theory crafted, I think this is going to work just fine. You can see here that the melee heavy attack chance is 488 and the range heavy attack chance is 338. Real quick, we're just going to go straight to the game here. That's actually wrong. I actually have more than that already. If you look here, my melee heavy attack chance is 528 and my range heavy attack chance is 378, and then magic 378. But keep in mind, I don't even have full heavy attack chance on my Thunderous Soul yet. So once I max that out, I'm going to have an additional 60 heavy attack chance more. So I'm going to have 60 here, which is 500 and probably 580, 590 heavy attack, and then I'm gonna have an additional 60 here on my magic, which is around probably 420, 410 heavy attack chance. So I'm actually gonna have more than what's showing here, and I'm gonna have more than what's showing on here. Okay. Second thing is my movement speed. I'm gonna have 23% movement speed. I'm gonna have 12, almost 13% attack speed. But check this out, guys. This is where the build makes sense. Is my cooldown speed. Look at that, 32.3% cooldown speed. And of course, that is before I am using this skill right here, which is very, very strong. And it is going to be the skill right here that gives you cooldown speed, high focus. So once I pop this, I'm going to have an additional 34% cooldown speed, and then my movement speed is going to go up another 22% for 12 seconds. So if you add that 34% cooldown speed, I'm going to have somewhere around 30, I'm going to say 66% cooldown speed, guys, which is ridiculous. And then my movement speed is going to be another 24%, which is you know, I'm gonna have 50% movement speed, and that doesn't even consider assassin step, which is going to give me that another 35.4% movement speed after you kill someone. And the way this game works is, even if you do damage to someone and that person dies and you don't kill them but you assist with it, it counts as a kill. And with AoE skills, I'm hitting multiple targets at the same time. So the chances of me proccing assassin step and getting that 35.4% movement speed on top of the movement speed that I'm going to be getting here is ridiculous. So I'm going to be extremely fast. I'm going to have super high cooldowns, and I'm going to have super high evasions. That's what I'm hitting. I'm betting that I'm going to have so much speed, so much cooldown speed and high evasions that I'm going to be unhittable. One, because I'm too quick. Two, because my cooldown speeds are high. And also because I have cooldown speeds, my invis is going to be coming up a lot more. I mean, it's got a 53.5% cooldown speed whenever it's just regular, but that doesn't account for your cooldown speed that you have on the build. And also it doesn't account for assassination stance, which I do use in PvP. And on evading, it has a 10% chance to apply a camouflage cloak cooldown, 10.6%. Of course, that can go all the way up to 15.4 if you level this to +5. So my whole goal is to be able to go invis as many times as I can while having high evasions, and then using the shadow step. See, the shadow step here is going to it's going to bind the target for 2 seconds and apply that silence poison for 6 seconds, and then the cooldown speed there is only 11.4%. But again, guys, this is the base cooldown speed. It's not going to account for your actual cooldown speed that you have in the game. So I'm going to be having my shadow step up every couple seconds. I'm going to be able to get invis every couple seconds, and with my movement speed and cooldown speed, it's just going to be really nice and fluid. The one thing I may have trouble with is, because I have such high cooldowns, I'm going to have mana problems. I may or may not have mana problems. We're going to have to see. I'm not sure yet. The build is not complete. I still need my ring here, and then of course I need to trade everything out so that I can test it. But so far, just changing these few items, my damage has been pretty good, and I'm actually enjoying Staff Dagger so much. Like I said, it's been so fun playing in PvP. I mean, people don't stand a chance. They don't stand a chance. You do so much damage. Look at that. That was like 10k damage there, over 15k damage there. They don't stand a chance, guys. Staff Dagger is a play, I'm telling you. It's a lot of fun. It's high risk, high reward, just like every other tune. But I think it's more bursty than most people think, because the damage is very instant, and because I have such high attack, a double attack, the heavy attack, it really synergizes very well with the lightning skill here, which is Judgment Lightning. And every time you do a heavy attack, it resets the skill. You can see here it's doing 780% of damage plus 309. So imagine hitting a heavy attack for, like, let's just say 6k here. It heavy attacks for 12,000, and then you get to do it again for another 4 to 6k. That's 18,000 damage in about 1 second that you can do with this Judgment Lightning. And there's not too many people, guys, that are rocking that much health. Look, this guy only has 12,000 health. This guy has 22,000 health, but he is Great Sword Shield. This guy is 11,000 health. I mean, I could one-shot him with the right proc there. Now, to wrap the video up, a lot of people are going to ask, why didn't I go up with Reaper, right? Because most damage dealers are going to want to use Reaper. And what Reaper is, it's probably one of the best go-to 2 sets in the game. Reaper Mask is going to give you, with a 2-set, Reaper Mask, Reaper Gloves, or Reaper Mask, Reaper Legs, or even the feet, are going to give you that critical damage 21%. Now, I could run Reaper. I could, And I may get a 2-set just to experiment with it and have 2 sets, have a Reaper set for damage depending on the content, and then have this set that I'm rocking for more of like a siege type content. It's gonna depend, I don't know yet, but the reason I went with my type content is because it's more universal. It's gonna give me more evasions, whereas with Reaper mask I won't have as much high evasion. So that's what I was relying on, was my evasion. My whole build was built around my evasion, so I wanted to make sure that I had evasions over anything, because the worst thing is having all this damage but being targeted and killed in one shot. It's the worst thing. It's not a lot of fun. I need to have some type of sustain and evasion in a fight so that I can continue to help my teammates in PvP and stay alive and be relevant. So the Reaper's mask, and let's just say the Reaper's body or the Reaper's gloves, is a close second, may even be the first. I don't know yet because I don't have it set up, but having that critical damage 21% is kind of broken, because let's say I'm gonna hit somebody with this spell right here, 4044, right? 4400. A 20% increase on that would be another 800 damage. So I would have hit for 551 or 5200, and if that double hits, that's 10k damage. Okay, so yes, going Reapers maybe does make sense, right, for Staff Dagger, because I'm high burst champion, okay, and having that extra damage, that extra 21% damage, and then also it does synergize very, very well with this right here, Wrathful Edge, which is going to give you another 17% or 18% damage if you get it to +5. So having that extra 21 plus 18%, I mean, what is that, like 40% more critical damage, somewhere around there? I mean, all your skills doing 40% more critical damage is huge. Okay, so I may switch to Reapers. I gotta test it. I'm gonna keep testing it for you guys so that when NA comes out, you guys know which is the best items to use per your character. But for now, like I said, I'm going with the Transcendental Clairvoyance top, and then of course I am going with the General's 2-piece here. If I was gonna switch out the Reapers, it would probably have to be the top, and then it would probably have to be the legs, but then I wouldn't get the 2-piece set for the weakened duration. So if I was going Reapers, I would change out my top and I would get the legs, so that I still had the heavy attack here and I still had my melee heavy attack chance 150 here. So that would be the sub out there. Hope you guys liked the video. Hope this makes sense and kind of broke down my theory craft on, you know, why I chose these items and what my build is and kind of what the whole play is behind Staff Dagger. And if you guys are playing Staff Dagger, let me know in the comment section. I want to know what you guys are enjoying about it. If you guys are enjoying it, or maybe you guys don't like it, let me know. I'm curious to know how many Staff Dagger players we got in the chat. Thanks so much for all your support, guys. I really appreciate it. Again, if you like the video, smash that like button. It helps me out big time, and it helps push my videos out to other people that may want to look at this content. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comment section. And again, if you guys like this video and want to see more, consider subscribing. It helps me out big time. I'm forever grateful for each and every one of you guys. Until the next video, guys, I'm out. Peace.